Welcome back to another episode of UNCUT XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. We're getting introduced to another new soldier, and this one was provided by a tank dressing kitty. Like most young people that live in Advent city centers, Keoki grew up experiencing non-stop propaganda. The constant lies eventually became too much and she started to rebel. It started off small. Keoki would argue with friends and family about why living under the psionic thumb of the elders was bad. When her complaints fell on deaf ears, she moved to vandalism. She took to the streets and began graffitiing her neighborhood. That sounds simple, but illegally defacing Advent property without getting caught is no easy task. As her confidence grew, so did her desire to do more. She joined a resistance group that helped her spread the word about XCOM and humanity's comeback to the indoctrinated masses. After a time, Keoki worked up enough confidence to leave the city center and live in a resistance haven. There she learned several medical skills and improved her hacking knowledge. When she felt her skills were sufficient enough for combat, she contacted XCOM. She's now on board the Avenger and is eager for her first mission. Okay people, today we are doing a guerrilla ops mission and we are countering the dark event Made Whole. The Chosen will no longer suffer any weaknesses if we allow this mission to go through, and I kind of don't want to deal with that. I don't necessarily want to do this particular guerrilla ops mission. The reward is a grenadier, which is decent, but I am a big fan of intel rewards, which we have from this particular mission that's countering a hidden event. And I'm also a fan of engineer rewards. This is countering high alert. XCOM will not be concealed at the start of missions. So this is one of those situations where you really have to weigh the pros and cons of countering the different events and the rewards that you're getting. And in my opinion, the Chosen having weaknesses is something that goes a long way towards being able to effectively wombo combo them. Because if you imagine if a Chosen that has brittle no longer has brittle and he's not taking additional damage, then a wombo combo that would have normally killed them is not going to kill them. So I want to avoid situations like that, especially since I'm getting very close to defeating the Chosen Hunters. So let's go out there and deal with destroying this alien relay. Our squad composition today is very melee-centric. We have a Templar, Reaper, 2 Rangers, and a Specialist. Our Templar is using a Mind Shield, which is making her immune to any negative status effects, and Mind Control, which is the most devastating negative effect of them all. Our Reaper Dragonova still using her standard loadout Vector Rifle Claymore, and no utility slots. Francesca Apex Petrova is our first ranger. She is a Blade Master spec, so she's going to deal increased damage with her melee attacks. She's also using a Boltcaster and the Hunter's Axe, so her melee strikes are going to be ridiculously powerful. Our second ranger is also a Blade Master, but he is bringing the Talon rounds with him, so that's increasing his critical hit chance and damage by 1 with his primary shotgun weapon, so he is going to be valuable for flanking targets and doing that big burst of damage, and that is Samuel Deathwalker Aziri. We haven't seen him for a little while, but he's still healthy and he's still whooping ass. And finally, our Specialist is a combat hacker coming in with a Skulljack to increase his hack rating, and that's it. So, without further ado, let's go chop some aliens into little tiny pieces, have ourselves a barbecue.
Shen came across an odd series of transmissions coming out of this region, and we've narrowed it down to a hidden alien communications relay transmitting to the Advent network. We can't pass up any opportunities to disrupt their progress on the latest operation, so we're moving in to take out that relay. Neutralize any hostile contacts near the site, lock it down, and destroy the target.
We'll be none the wiser.
Alright, we're a little bit far away from the objective, but we've got 7 turns to get there. It should be more than enough. Unfortunately, we are being blocked by a heavy turret. It's got 8 health and 4 points of armor, and without any way to reliably shred that off, we are going to try and avoid it as much as possible. It may wind up getting shut down, but for now we're just going to try and avoid it as much as possible. I'm just sprinting my soldiers up, not even worrying about cover at the moment because I don't see any nearby enemies and because I'm a little bit sleepy. I've been watching too much news lately, and whenever I watch the news in excess, it drains most of my energy because the news is a cesspool. It is absolutely terrible. because there's so much negativity in the news. When's the last time you watched anything where they were talking about something positive? It's always babies getting thrown in the dumpster, and I've talked about that before. I'm going to go on top of this roof, but I can't tab to a new soldier, so I am going to reveal something. It is another group of enemies. That was an Advent Captain, a Flamer, and a Shield Bearer. So we've got vision on a lot of groups of enemies. What we're going to try and do is circle around the building and get to the objective, because I don't think we're going to get a clean ambush right now. So if I can get eyes on the objective, blow that up as quickly as possible, and then deal with the enemies, I feel like that'll be much safer. So yeah, just watching the news is an absolute bad idea. If you don't watch the news a lot and people tell you that you should watch the news, don't freaking do it, because you'll only be disappointed. So these guys are coming outside of the building, so they're going to be the first group of enemies that we engage. Ideally, we'll kill the shield bearer first, so he doesn't give anybody shields. So let's see if we can get our guys and girls into position to deal with this. Shit. I mean, you know what's even worse than me watching a bit more news than I normally do, is the fact that I got a very painful reminder the other day that I'm broke, and that is arguably the worst thing that you can find out ever in your life, is that you are financially struggling. Because here's the thing, if you are broke and you don't notice it or you don't pay much attention to it, it's not a huge deal. You just kind of go about your life. It's like, oh man, I wish I had a couple of extra bucks right now. But it's no big deal. It's not the end of the freaking world because you can't buy that thing that you want. You know, you save up a couple of paychecks and then you get it, and then the world moves on. But when you get a reminder that you're broke, it does something to your soul a little bit, and it makes it uncomfortable. And how did I find out that I was broke? How was I reminded that I was broke? I had a gig working a surprise proposal for this guy. He contacted me and said, hey man, I'm proposing to my girlfriend and I want to make it a big surprise, a whole fancy thing, the big shebang-a-bang. And he wanted to commemorate the moment with some photography. And that's very admirable, and I respect that. So I said, of course, man, I'll help you out, but you got to pay me, of course, because I don't work for free. And that's obviously how things go. So the guy pays me, and I go through the whole process of the proposal, and it's real nice. It was a really beautiful moment. I enjoyed it. But that's not what made me remember that I'm broke. It was all the events leading up to it that made me realize that I don't got no money. So we're going to start by shooting the Claymore. We're not putting anyone on Overwatch. We're just getting a big boom. And we did destroy the Advent Flamer, and he blew up. So that collateral damage is very serious. Now, to finish this off, I'm going to go for a slash on the Advent Officer just so I can get some focus. And just FYI, I'm going to call rend slash all the time because I don't need to be bothered with the proper nomenclature for these things. So when the guy's first talking to me and telling me about his plan and how he's going to propose to his girl, he mentioned the words cheese plate. Broke people don't have cheese plates. And the reason is because when you're broke, there are literally only two types of cheese, American and government. All right, and neither of those two cheeses are on a cheese plate. I'll tell you that right now. And we activated another pod by doing that rend, which is pretty unfortunate. We do have vision of the objective, and that means we're actually in a very strong position in that regard. But we are in a lot of danger because a lot of our soldiers are flanked. But the enemies may have played themselves a little bit by standing next to this car because we have access to remote start, and we are damn sure going to use it. Boom. 12 damage to the Spectre, 10 damage to the Viper. We killed it and destroyed some loot, which is terribly unfortunate, but sometimes sacrifices need to be made, all right? You got to do what you got to do in this life, and that's what we had to do. Now, what's interesting here is that I can give Dragonova an extra action point right now to give her a chance to shoot at the Spectre. And that might be a good idea. But I don't think she actually has line of sight on it, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I will move Samuel Aziri up. Get him into some half cover. That does put him in line of sight of the turret. But it brought his chance to hit up to 70%. Not worth it. Okay.
That's not good.
And I totally wasted teamwork. I for some reason I thought teamwork gives 2 action points, but it doesn't. So the Spectre is coming in to do some shenanigans. Its main ability is called Shadowbind. It takes control, essentially, of one of your soldiers. It knocks them unconscious and creates a copy of it that can do all of the same things that your soldier can do. So now there's an evil version of Samuel Deathwalker Aziri running around, causing a muck. So we have to kill the Spectre to get rid of the carbon copy that was created of him. Now, unfortunately, Francesca Petrova was left vulnerable. That critical hit is going to do some big damage, and fortunately, it wasn't enough to kill her, because that would have been truly, truly devastating. Now it's time for us to pull out all the stops. Now let me finish this whole spiel about being broke. There's only 2 types of cheese for a broke person: government and American. But it gets worse. It gets even crazier than that. When I go to meet the guy at his house, because he was proposing in his apartment. On the top floor of his apartment, there is a little garden area, and that's nice. That's actually kind of common. But when I get to the building, the first thing I'm greeted by is a marble floor so glorious that it was literally hurting my eyes how shiny and beautiful this marble floor was. And then I was greeted by doormen. So that's just like you don't have doormen unless you're balling. So there's that. And then on top of that, whenever I see doormen in a building, because I'm black, I go through this weird phase of feeling like they're automatically going to start racially profiling me. That's a real thing, all right? It might sound a little bit weird if you've never been in that kind of situation before, but trust me, doormen racially profile, especially in Manhattan. It happens sometimes. That's neither here nor there. The marble floors were the real thing that was making me feel broke, because they were so shiny. They were so delicious. My building doesn't have marble floors. I live in a nice building, but it's not that nice. It's not marble floors nice. But the whole day was just a series of different events that were making me feel like a broke motherfucker. and that's always just a little bit frustrating to just be reminded of your financial situation. Because on a day-to-day, I don't pay that much attention to it. I just, I don't have a lot of money, but it is what it is. I get by with what I get by with. But as soon as somebody brings out a cheese plate and some champagne, some fancy stuff, and this isn't like not some bottom shelf stuff, like people bringing out like real proper champagne, you know what I'm saying? That's a silly thing that people do sometimes. To really drive home the fact that the thing is extra good, all you have to do is say it twice. So there's champagne, and then there's champagne. And champagne, that's that good stuff. But if it's just champagne, it's nothing. It's regular. But if it's champagne, all right. I'm not making any sense here, but bottom line is I'm a little bit sleepy. I feel super broke right now because I don't have marble floors in my building and I don't know what a cheese plate is. And yeah, that's a thing. Our scanning protocol not going to reveal any enemies that we didn't know existed already. That's a bit unfortunate, but we've survived the initial assault from the aliens. Now all we have to do is scout out and find the rest of them. And wouldn't you know it, we found them. It's a group of sectoids hanging out behind the building, not doing what they're supposed to do, which is defend the objective. So kudos to them for slacking off. Now we just have to make an approach on them without revealing ourselves and without getting flanked by that turret. We should be safe right here. Oh, did I just fuck up? No. Okay. They are on high alert though, so they are gonna most likely walk into us pretty soon. So what we can do is just try to ambush them in the coming turns. And Francesca patrol. Ooh, she can see them from there. Yeah, we're just going to try and get a nice, clean ambush on the sectoids as they come around the corner. They're most likely going to just run up looking for us, and then they're going to activate, and we can get a lot of free shots on them that way. So we'll just Overwatch. Overwatch will bring our our Templar into position. And you know what? We can even move Francesca up, and even if this activates, then there's a very good chance that they will cross our line of sight. Nope, not going to cross it. But we've still got some pretty damn good shot percentages because of the bolt caster. You see the weapon accuracy is 15. The tracer rounds another 10. Good angle is another 9. And the weapon range 7. So that is basically negating the high cover. It's very serious what we got going on here. So before I take that shot, I'm going to maneuver Dragonova into a different position. I'm going to have to do it manually to get her around without breaking her concealment, and then maybe I'll be able to eliminate one of the sectoids. I have a flank on that one that is standing by the car, so we switch back over to Francesca. We have the lowest shot percentage on it, but I'm going to take it just because this is a flank, and if we do connect, we're not going to connect. I was going to say that would have made a great opening for Dragonova, but totally just realized he's standing next to a freaking car. Both of them are. So probably didn't even need to worry about that shot. I'm going to blow up this car. There's a good chance that the other sectoid is not smart enough to realize that the car is about to explode, and he might stand next to it and get himself killed. This guy's just going on a little bit of a run. And wouldn't you know it, the sectoid is not smart enough to move out of the way of the car. Nice chunk of damage. 6. I'll take it. To finish it off, I'm going to feed Dragonova another kill because I want to get her ranked up as quickly as possible so I can continue infiltrating the stronghold of the Chosen. I want to take them down sooner rather than later to gain access to their new weapons. And to finish this off, we got this in the bag at this point. All we got to do is slice the sectoid once, and he's done for good. Open that garage door. Chop that sectoid. Thumbs the hell up. I'm very happy about the way this mission went. Francesca could have died, so that's a little bit nerve-wracking, but overall, we did pretty damn well. She got a promotion for herself. I think it's about time we take a photo. We didn't take one on the previous mission, and we've got a pretty damn exciting pose right off the bat, but the Templar is kind of hogging up the camera a little bit. Damn. She's just blocking the shot. Let's randomize it a couple times, see what we get. The Templar is a real camera hog right now, so we're going to go into the edit soldiers and change her position. She is just trying to be ultra glamorous, hogging up the entire front and center. I mean, she looks great, but come on now. Get down on one knee, girl. Let's do it properly. Give the other people some time to shine. Sure, that's kind of cute. That's kind of like a family photo almost. I like that. Okay, so we're gonna head back to the base and mess around there for a little bit, and then we'll finish up for the day. Overall, this was pretty solid. We got a lot of exciting stuff going on in the base right now. We're doing a lot of big research projects and advancing our technology pretty considerably. We're almost over the technological hump. Once you get your soldiers and your squad decked out in all of the magnetic and predator level gear, that's including the spider suits and the exosuits, you become just pretty much capable of dealing with everything comfortably. As of right now, we can deal with stuff damage-wise, but our defenses are lacking. So we really want to hurry up and get that Predator armor done as quickly as possible. Now, Dragonova is a captain now. She has access to 2 new abilities. I'm going to take Soul Harvest. Kill shots increase her crit chance by 5 to a maximum of 20. So she needs to get 4 kills to reach her maximum potential with that. It's a very powerful ability. Boom. Next up, Francesca also got a promotion. She's going straight down that Blade Master tree. I'm going to give her run and gun. It's a bit difficult to use run and gun with a bolt caster, but if there is an instance where the fighting resets to neutral, then she can reload that bolt caster and be ready to sprint like hell in the next turn, engage an enemy, get a really devastating flank on them. The bolt caster is the highest damaging weapon in the game. Got a lot of corpses here. That's all well and good. We have access to 2 new researches, the Shield Bearer Autopsy and the Spectre Autopsy. The Spectre Autopsy is not that good, so I'm probably not going to do it for a while, but we'll get around to it. We don't have to worry about that. And we got the Grenadier as a reward for this mission. Very nice. In addition, of course, to countering the Dark event, Made Whole. So you can see that we are still clearing out the debris in our building, and one of our engineers was actually injured by the Chosen in a previous Geoscape session, which is kind of unfortunate because they are that's slowing down our progress. And what's going to go in this slot? The Psionics Lab, and that's going to help us get the Psionic Operatives, the biggest investment that we are making in this campaign. So we have a supply drop available, an engineer in the stockade, and some supplies as well, and we are building a radio relay. I'm gonna go for the relay. I want to finish building that before the month is over. I have plenty of time, so I could wait, but I'm just gonna get it out of the way on the off chance that I happen to forget. For anybody that doesn't know what the relay does, it increases your income from a particular region. So our current income from New India is 157, but in addition to that, it reduces the cost of intel for expansion to nearby regions. So you'll see here, it currently costs 240 intel to expand to a nearby area, and that cost is calculated by 80 intel times the link distance to the nearest radio relay. The nearest radio relay, I'm pretty sure it is calculated by as being the headquarters. Yeah, so if the headquarters counts as a radio relay, it is 1, 2, 3 spaces away. So 80 times 3 is 240. So as soon as we finish building this relay, the cost of contacting that region is going to go down significantly. And our income from that region is going to go up as well. So now you see it's gone down to 80 intel because the link is right next to it. Now our supply drop is in 11 days, and it will only take between 6 and 8 days to contact this region. So if we do make contact with them, that's going to increase our supplies for the next month. So that does sound like a pretty good option. Okay, yeah, so this seems like a pretty good opportunity. You always have to weigh the pros and cons of what you're going to scan. And something important that you can try to do to min-max in your campaign is always, if you have the opportunity to expand before the end of the month, then if you do so, you will get more supplies that way. We're not exactly hurting from supplies, but there's no shame in having more. And our engineer that was wounded just recovered from their injury, so we're going to put them back to work on excavating the alien debris over here. And as soon as that's done, we're going to start production on the Psionics Laboratory. Boom. The debris have been cleared out. We can go check out the room. It's nice and empty. Supply lab, put it down. We can only have one engineer working on it at a time, unfortunately, so we have 21 days until it's finished, and that feels truly amazing. It's finally happening, folks. We got another block of progress getting added to the Avatar project, but it is very contained at the moment. It is 3 blocks away from completion, which is within acceptable parameters, especially because we are sitting right next to an alien facility that will drop it down 2 more points. A dark event has been completed. Signal jamming. This is the hidden event that we did not stop. The aliens are scrambling the Avengers' radio signals, greatly increasing all scanning times for the next 6 weeks. That's awful. Shit. That's pretty bad. That's actually terrible. I don't like that at all. Well, you got to deal with it. We just completed a Proving Grounds project for the experimental heavy weapon, and we got access to the Shredder gun. This is a very powerful item. Fires a cone-shaped barrage of particles that shreds off armor and deals some pretty nice damage. That's going to be used on exosuits and our Spark as well, potentially. And we got another mission popping up, so we're going to take a little break before we do it, but it is a council mission. We have to neutralize a target, Operation Dawn Witch. Our reward is 20. I'm not gonna do it now because I'm gonna do it again later and it's gonna be repetitive and weird. So on that note, the name of the game is XCOM 2. The name of the channel is, oh my goodness, our plated armor is 3 days away from finishing. iBluairJgR Gaming for Comedy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.